This is Hong Kong. And this is also Hong Kong.
At least 128 people are now known to have died in Hong Kong after fire swept through a high-rise residential complex.
Authorities are expecting that figure to rise further as dozens more residents remain missing.
Anti-corruption officers have arrested 8 people in connection with renovation work taking place at the complex.
Do you believe that corruption has been involved here?
Absolutely.
睇住佢笑唔應該笑㗎，啱唔啱啊？睇住佢笑㗎。
7 residential high-rise towers. Nearly 2,000 units. More than 4,600 residents. All turned into a raging inferno in one single afternoon. Seven of the 8 buildings in the complex were quickly engulfed in flames, trapping thousands of people inside. This is the largest fire Hong Kong has seen in 77 years. So how did buildings that have stood strong since 1983 succumb to fire so quickly? How did the fire leap from one tower to another, engulfing 7 in just minutes? And who was at fault? Let's investigate.
This video is sponsored by Houzeo, America's best home buying and selling app.
Timeline of events. We have a rough idea of how the fire started and moved. Fire broke out at Wang Fuk Court, Block F, around 1400 Hong Kong time on November 26, 2025. The fire began on the bamboo scaffolding at the lower levels of Block F on the exterior. The officials were alerted at 14:51. The fire spread vertically and engulfed multiple floors in just 6 minutes. The reason for the rapid spread? The polystyrene foam seals on windows ignited as flames hid them from the exterior. Windows shattered from heat, creating openings that allowed flames to enter multiple units. The cruciform design created a chimney effect as hot gases rose through the central core. The scaffolding and mesh also created another chimney effect on the exterior. Bamboo scaffolding acted as a vertical fueled conduit, carrying flames upward continuously.
Possibly some very flammable materials that could have again assisted just the speed and the intensity of this inferno.
This drastically increased the speed and height of the fire. Strong continental autumn winds fanned the flames, literally. They brought dry, cool air from the northeast. The autumn winds pushed flames horizontally across the scaffolding to nearby buildings. Burning pieces of bamboo scaffolding and netting flew across the gaps between towers.
Firefighters are still battling hotspots after a massive fire raged through a Hong Kong high-rise complex. Authorities say the blaze spread rapidly from building to building.
At nearly 15:34, the fire was classified as level 4. At 18:22, level 5, highest possible level. By this point, 7 of the 8 towers were burning. The fire jumped from block to block. A through G all burnt. Firefighters were just quick enough to save Block H Wangchi House with the rooftop water systems, the only block to survive. And the fire wasn't under control until 10:18 a.m. on November 28th, 40 hours later.
The fire spread rapidly due to bamboo scaffolding and highly flammable foam panels, fully extinguished Friday morning.
The fire was controlled, but the flames of speculation had just begun. The players messed up. Wang Fuk Court in Tai Po, Hong Kong is an old residential complex and required major renovations. The housing corporation chose Prestige Construction and Engineering Company, a registered general contractor for the renovations. The structural consultant on the project was Will Power Architects Company. The 2 contractors messed up, big time, and they made 5 major mistakes. First, they installed scaffolding on all buildings at the same time. The reason? The contractor allegedly cited labor shortages and timeline compression.
So a shortage of workers could very well delay all the housing projects and extend the already long wait.
By scaffolding everything at once, they claimed they could move workers freely between blocks. They wouldn't need to wait for scaffolding to be dismantled and re-erected. It is more likely that the simultaneous wrapping saved money on logistics and crane operations over a long period. Second, they used non-compliant netting. The green safety mesh used was cheap and non-flame retardant. Flame-resistant mesh costs around 90 Hong Kong dollars per sheet.
The flame will extinguish itself in 3 seconds.
While the normal mesh is at 50 Hong Kong dollars. That's a $40 difference.
Was 75,000 square meters in size, at $54 per row, which was large enough for the use of all 8 blocks. In late October, a fire broke out at the scaffolding of Chinacam Tower in Central. Fearing the authorities could check the site following that fire, Wu said the suspects bought 3,700 square meters of fire-retardant netting at $100 per row.
Hong Kong guidelines, though non-binding, require flame-resistant netting. Tests revealed that 7 of 20 samples collected at Wang Fuk Court did not meet fire resistance standard.
They took 20 samples of the protective netting from 4 buildings that burned. Initial examination showed 7 samples failed to meet fire retardant standards.
The netting used here burned vigorously, acting as a fuel wick. Third, they sealed the windows on each floor near the elevator lobbies with expanded polystyrene to protect residents from dust during exterior work. But EPS is highly flammable and releases a toxic black smoke when burned. When the fire started, these foam boards melted and ignited rapidly.
During firefighting operations, even the building that wasn't affected, we found some of the ventilation areas and windows had been sealed with polystyrene boards. This material is highly flammable.
The heat shattered the window glasses. The imbalance in the temperatures caused a difference in pressure, and the fire was sucked into the apartments almost instantly. Fourth, the contractors used bamboo as scaffolding.
Was using bamboo a terrible choice to begin with?
Well, you might have seen these kinds of videos. If you try to heat up the bamboo, you will find out that the bamboo has an outer coating that is pretty good with fire resistance. This is true. It doesn't catch fire very easily, but there is a but, obviously. If it does catch fire, then the entire structure burns and the fire spreads upwards.
When combined with nylon netting, a scaffolded building is effectively wrapped in kindling. Finally, scaffolding ties and debris blocked some smoke vents and windows in the stairwells. That violated the means of escape code, which requires all exit routes to be clear of combustible materials.
I was terrified, helpless, because I knew my escape route, the doorway, was no longer safe. During the rescue, the ladder couldn't reach directly to my window because scaffolding was blocking it. We had to climb out through the window ourselves.
To make matters worse, Fire Chief Andy Young's investigation revealed another catastrophic failure.
Some have pointed out that the alarm systems in several blocks did not sound. Our fire safety inspection team was deployed yesterday to inspect fire alarm systems across 8 buildings.
Residents had no automated warning system. The Wang Fuk Court complex. Hong Kong was once known as the New York of the East. It has the same drive as New York, same lust for the skies, the same love for skyscrapers. A vertical, high-density financial powerhouse of a city with millions of people dreaming of making it big. Like New York, it is also a city with absurd real estate prices, multi-million-dollar homes that a select few could afford. So back in the 1970s, the government planned a corridor of new towns specifically to house the city's growing working class, on the edge of Hong Kong's glittering cityscape, away from the main urban core. Tai Po was one of the second-generation new towns, and in Tai Po is Wang Fuk Court residential complex. 8 towers built in 1983, each 31 stories tall, with 8 units on every floor, all developed by Hong Kong's housing authority. Wang Fuk Court is a homeownership scheme, which is a government-subsidized purchase program. Under this program, residents own their units after purchase. Only lower to middle-income individuals are eligible to buy. Ownership comes with restrictions on resale. Only one-time purchase is subsidized by government. The complex provided stable, permanent housing for 4,643 residents. And according to a recent census, around 40% were senior citizens living on fixed incomes. Homeownership became possible for people who couldn't afford to buy a home at market rate, and they weren't shortchanged either. Wang Fuk Court was built to last, and it did for 41 years. The blocks are built in the Flexi 2 design style, a common cruciform layout used by the Hong Kong Housing Authority in the 80s. The cruciform design is special. All units in the floor are arranged in a cross pattern around a central core. Individual units range from 40 to 44 square meters. That's around 430 to 473 square feet. If we compare it to homes here in the US, that's a small studio apartment. Still sufficient for a small family of 2 to 3 people or an elderly couple. And the design ensures every unit enjoys good sunlight and ventilation. At the center is a reinforced concrete core about 400 millimeters thick. It contains the elevators, stairwells, and utilities. The structural frame also uses in situ reinforced concrete construction. The perimeter walls provide additional support against wind and lateral forces, also made of concrete. Concrete is non-flammable and non-combustible. This is public housing done right. So the building itself isn't prone to such a devastating fire, but it is old. Need for renovation. Wang Fuk Court remained stable for decades. Most residents were content with their homes and community, but age can take its toll. Specifically the age of the concrete. That's dangerous for towers that are more than 300 feet tall and rely on concrete structural walls for stability. Like many Hong Kong buildings from the 70s and 80s, Wang Fuk Court suffered from concrete spalling. Chunks of concrete were falling off, exposing rusty steel bars underneath. The concrete on exterior walls were fundamentally compromised. If the buildings needed to survive another 40 years, they needed significant repairs. So in January 2024, the Wang Fuk Court Owners Corporation approved a 33 million Hong Kong dollars renovation. That's $42 million USD. They chose this proposal over 2 more affordable $19 million options because they wanted to fix all major issues at once. It was a complete reconstruction. It involved complete rebuild of exterior walls, installing tessera stone tiles, updating the building envelope, replace drainage pipes, waterproof the roof. And this is the root of the disaster. Not because the corporation compromised on the repairs required, because they chose the wrong developers. Aftermath. The dust hasn't settled yet, but the government has already made several arrests. At least 13 individuals across multiple agencies, of which there are 2 company directors and 1 engineering consultant.
Police arrested 3 men around their 50s at midnight. Who are the company executives in charge of the renovations at Wang Fuk Court? They are being detained at the moment.
The devastation is heartbreaking.
This amounted to an act of crime. So far 13 people have been arrested, and these include engineering consultants, contractors, as well as scaffolding foremen.
According to eyewitness accounts, bodies were found inside apartment units, in the stairwells, and even on rooftops. People tried to escape, but
因為有啲嘅遺體咧已經係變成灰燼啦，所以咧我哋都唔排除咧最後咧未必能夠將所有失聯嘅人士係帶返出嚟嘅。
And this could have been prevented. In September 2024, residents formally complained to the Labor Department about fire hazards.
Residents of Wang Fuk Court had complained about it for almost a year, Hong Kong's Labor Department said. The department inspected the renovation site 16 times since July 2024 and issued multiple written warnings to contractors. The latest inspection was just 1 week before the fire.
The government's response: they told residents the fire risk was low. As of 4th December 2025, 158 residents are reported dead. This wasn't just negligence. This was a regulatory failure.
It's been about 1 week since the tragedy, and authorities are continuing their investigations into really what caused the fire, and signs of ignored warnings are starting to stoke more public anger.
An activist named Miles Kwan, 24. Kwan is a member of a group petitioning for an independent investigation into corruption and a reassessment of construction oversight. Kwan was arrested by police on November 29th, Saturday. China's National Security Authority issued a warning. It would support Hong Kong in taking a hard stance against any disruptive actions linked to the disaster.
As Beijing warned, it would use a national security law to crack down on any anti-China protests.
However, the authorities have been active in the rescue and relief efforts. The government established a $300 million Hong Kong, $38 to $39 million USD relief fund for victims.
The government has set up a $39 million fund to help those displaced.
Over 500 residents relocated to 9 temporary shelters.
Hong Kong residents have also been donating essentials such as clothes, blankets, and shoes, but many are worried they may not have a home to return to.
The government offered 10,000 Hong Kong dollars, $1,284 US, subsidies for families. Hong Kong's Buildings Department announced the immediate suspension of 28 construction projects managed by Prestige Construction and Engineering Company. For building managers, HOA boards, and residents, Wang Fuk Court teaches critical lessons. First, renovation projects on occupied buildings demand independent fire safety audits, not just contractor certifications. Second, regulations without enforcement are worthless. The Labor Department had guidelines, but they had no legal teeth. Third, cost-cutting on materials compounds into tragedy. A $40 difference in mesh prices per sheet became fuel for 151 deaths. That's not poor project management. That's criminal negligence.
There's a tension, an anxiety, even an anger, a quiet belief that perhaps Hong Kong's system has let its people down.
曾經喺一個樓層裏邊，我哋同時揾到幾具嘅遺體。呢啲遺體有大有細，去到某一個階段，其實我哋係需要用一啲工具將個遺體移離嘅。但係我哋嘅同事為咗呢啲遺體有更完整嘅交翻俾佢哋嘅家人，佢哋係徒手去挖掘嘅，包括一啲沙石、泥濘、雜物、污水。佢哋嘅唯一嘅目的就係想保持遺體嘅完整。
The investigation is ongoing and more details are likely to emerge in the upcoming weeks. But for now, let's pray for the health and safety of the families affected. We've provided resources for more information and official donation links in the description. If you like this video, please subscribe to Houzeo and share it with your friends. That'll help us bring these deep dives to you every week.